Here we are. It's Wednesday night again. I can't believe it's the 1st of March. We've got more snow right now than we've had almost all winter. I just had a little buddy join me. Oh, sorry. I gotta show you my video buddy here. Yeah, she's my walking buddy too. We've been going for long walks, which tires her out in the evening, which is really nice because she's a little busybody. She's 12 weeks old now, I think. So she's doing good. Growing up big, tiring her out. The walk is kind of part of our routine now. So God knew I needed to quit at some point working in the afternoon and get outside. So first he gave me a golden doodle who's a nut, and then he gave me a puppy. And so we have to go and get our exercise every afternoon or else. It's just how it is. But we had a great weekend. I'm sure Mark told you about the charcuterie class. Every class is different. Even though we have our curriculum and our program that we do for each one, the people that come are what makes the class. And the dynamics between all of their different experiences and their personalities and what they want out of the class. So that's a really fun part of it, really and truly, is our dinner when we sit around Sunday or Saturday evening. Saturday lunch, but Saturday evening especially, it's a time to sit and talk. We spend a lot of time talking in the class as well as getting everything done this week. And I walked in on Saturday morning to get the coffee going. And hey there, Inga. And I thought, oh my goodness, we have 4 pig halves out there. And by tomorrow afternoon, it's all going to be put away. Oh my goodness. But it happened just like clockwork because it always does every time. And so that's fun. Plus people took pork home. You get a special discounted price when you're at a class. So people loaded up and are enjoying some great pork and a lot of great experiences. They said, oh, okay, now we can do this. Some that hadn't had the homestead hog harvest class felt like, yeah, it's good to get that first level. So in November, we do the hog harvest. We're also doing, and I apologize, Beth, I just simply haven't had time. I've been updating the website today, but I'll get Beth's class on there to clerk down in Southern Michigan. So we're going to do one there the weekend after we do our one here. So the second weekend of November. So, I know gas is. I've been wanting to go to a conference, and I don't know if I will, and in part it's gas. But it's a good thing to do. Learn, invest. So it's actually coming out of the whole charcuterie class this weekend. Somebody shared something and I thought, okay, this is our wellness thing. I've been learning about this in the wellness world and in the business world, actually, with some of the people that I follow and learn from. This one couple said, yeah, we left the last class and we said, we are signing up. We don't know how we are going to make it. It's going to be tight, but we have to do this. We need this knowledge. And we're going to go. We're going to sign up and trust the rest will work out. And it did. And they came and, it was cold compared to Texas, but they had a great time. And they learned everything that they felt like they needed to learn because they had made that decision and taken the step. Just taken the first step and trusted that the rest of it was going to work out and be okay and happen. That their farm would be taken care of and the kids and travel, because it's a long ways. And it did. And I thought, oh, yeah. So I've been hearing about this. I do it myself. And it's really awesome when you see it happen in other people's lives as well. And you see these people showing up in your own life who say, I need to do this. And they dedicate themselves to making it happen. All change I even read this, one of my favorite people that I read every day is Oswald Chambers. And it came up in one of his thoughts this week too. It's at all levels, whether it's the health of your body, your mind, your homestead, your spirit. When there is something that you feel compelled to do, that you know you need to do, the most important thing is simply decide to do it. Obey. Do it. You don't have to know how. Don't worry about the how. The how will follow. You always have that first step. And most often, the first step involves something you already know you need to do. Or a lot of times, it's a mentor. You make a decision that you want to have more energy, more strength, better digestion, better sleep. You want to have a homestead. You want to travel the world, make $1 million. We've also been listening to some podcasts about the robber barons of the Gilded Age. And Carnegie, Vanderbilt, J.P. Morgan, Henry Ford, all of these guys, they had an idea in their head. They had a picture. They knew what they wanted. And they took small steps steadily to get there. And that's how you get healthy. It isn't by finding the supplement that'll work or the doctor, or it's by taking small, consistent steps in a direction. And you hold that direction, that idea, that goal, no matter what. Your desires like that, they are put in you divinely when you're born for a reason, because that's your thing in the world. All of these guys, these robber barons, my libertarian educated children were like, yeah, they're making them sound bad. They're calling them robber barons. But they all created the world that we know today. We wouldn't have all the steel if U.S. Steel hadn't come into existence. J.P. Morgan, he saved the United States from going bankrupt 3 times in his life. He made money off it, yes. And he did it with the intention of saving the people of the United States. And by the way, he made money because that was his vision and his goal in life. He also, all of these guys turned around and used their wealth to better the world, to make good things in life affordable, to create centers for education, all the libraries that Carnegie funded and supported. That's part of it. Your big vision, there's something to give back to the world because life is all about more life. So I had that big thought playing along. And meanwhile, I'm having a lot of conversations with people about how crazy the world is. And I don't know about you, but I noticed even this weekend, I felt a little off step. I get flustered a little more easily, felt a little more crazy. It gets a little chaotic at some points, but it verged on overwhelming. And so I leaned into my habits and, it was fine. I used my cold dipping. I used my oil. I actually brought it tonight because I sort of lost it and refound it. This is lard and tallow. And I rub it all over my body because it's very, very good for your skin. I had to go back to an old standby and use sesame oil this morning, and it does not soak into the skin. There is no vegetable oil that will soak in as good as lard, tallow, any animal fat, because that agrees with your body. Right now, in all the crazy, there's a few things that will really help you cope and be well in the middle of all the crazy. And this is the habits of Ayurveda. I was listening to a guy who comes at it from a whole different perspective. I'm hearing it from a lot of different places, but a lot of these are basic, well-known, time-honored habits. So one is you got to ground yourself. Taking a few minutes of peace and still. When there's chaos is just uncontrolled energy. So it's a lot of energy and it's just swirling madly. The thing that helps calm it is stillness, quietness. You can do it really easy. I'm not going to do like all those old ladies said, make time for yourself, without telling you how to do it. So 3 deep breaths through your nose and out through your mouth. You can even hack it, make it a little better, and kind of do an ah sound with it. It's a sigh. It really is. There's a reason that you sigh, and you can do it intentionally. And then you use it to calm yourself in a moment. 3 times is the magic charm a lot of times to really diffuse the energy, to really make a new start. You know, anything that you want to change, 3 is sort of the magic number. If you do it for 3 days, you've got a new habit started. If you can hold up for 3 weeks, now it's really cemented. 3 months and so on. So just 3 breaths in through your nose, and out through your mouth, a ha breath. Really easy. I do it with my oils. You take a shower, right? You get out, rub. Very intentionally do this, because it's one thing to dry yourself off. You do that all the time. But do it with the intention of connecting with yourself and taking a moment to breathe after a shower. You rub everything down, your whole body, all the way down your legs. Rub your belly in a clockwise motion. It helps massage your digestion a little bit. And then rub a little oil. You can use sesame oil, olive oil, lard and tallow if you have it, whatever. Just a little oil. You can add some essential oils to it that are nice, lavender, geranium, pine, I don't know. Do you face ears, inside your ears? It's very calming. You'll be surprised once you do it. And you do your whole ear, do the inside, rub it. Do your feet. If you do nothing else, do those 3 spots, face, ears, and feet. You will find that it's very grounding, very calming. It just helps you breathe. Settle the crazy just a wee bit. Some of the other easy things, get some movement. Whatever you do to move, just move. Go for a walk. Do 15 jumping jacks. The one mom that I talked to, I felt really bad for her. She said, I'm going crazy. And I go in my room to get away from the kids, and they stand outside the door and they scream, and I'm going nuts. My fuse is this short with my toddlers. I can't be like that. Doesn't want to. Her goal, her vision is something different, but she finds herself there. She said, even when I do exercise, I'm sitting there planking, and next thing I know, it's 30 pounds extra. It's how it is, but move anyway, no matter what. A few jumping jacks, do a few almost toe touches or whatever it is, wall push-ups, go for a short walk. Hack it, do it at sunrise, which is really easy. It's like 7 o'clock right now. So sunrise is easy to catch. It's not super early, and it's not so late that it's into your day already. Those red light waves help to reset your mitochondria, which are the little powerhouses in your cells. As soon as they turn on for the day, you've got more energy, your metabolism jumps up, everything works better, your mood comes up. But it's those red UV rays in the morning. In the evening, they don't do the same thing. In fact, the sunset's calming. It helps your the circadian rhythm in your body to know that it's time to slow down. Turn off. Relax now. But sunrise is a really important thing when you're looking to just calm things down, have a touch point of sanity. Touch points. That's all you need. Just a few seconds. And the more of those things that you layer in on top of each other, the more benefit you get from them. It's just staying well in the crazy, hanging on as things change. And, change can be chaotic. It's the old energy is, it's an unstable time. So it's, how are you going to stay grounded? How are you going to take care of yourself? Because unless the universe decides otherwise, you're moving through it one way or the other. So you can choose to do the little things. Just breathe. Breathe deeply. Catch the sunrise. Move a little bit. Take some time to connect to yourself and use your hands to give yourself a little love. Those are just simple, easy things. Anybody can do that. If you want to choose to be well in the crazy instead of crazy in the crazy, because it's a choice and you're going to go one way or the other. I promise and guarantee. So those are just a few things. There's a whole lot of them. I have a group, Good Living, and I haven't, because of the class last week, I wasn't very active in there, but I've been sharing a lot of tips. So I'll share that later. You're welcome to join me. Join another group on Facebook. But it's a necessary evil so that we can all meet up and have fun. There we go. Housekeeping. Mark's ready. He's coming. We have one question already from through the week. If you have questions, if you put them in caps in the chat, because you already know he goes through the chat. But if you have questions you want him to answer, put them in caps. That way he sees them right away and he knows that it's a question that you want an answer to, not just commentary to comment on. So Rachel promised she would redo Roger. He's an angry cow, but she said that's what you get in 10 minutes with no artwork otherwise. So Mark's here and ready. Ask your questions.
All right.
There's your tea.
Oh, good. Thank you. All right. Welcome. Glad everybody's here. All right. How is everybody? I'm doing all right. You got Inga, Keith, Brittany, Justin, Thomas. I got a question right here. Oh, yeah. Good stuff. All right. Run of the mill Wednesday here. I had to run over to Tustin to the mill. It's an Amish sawmill, and pick up a bunk of 6-inch boards, 1 inch thick and a little over 8 feet long. And there's 2 bunks over there waiting for me. And normally a bunk like that, well, I don't know how many exactly board feet it is, but it's 4 feet wide, probably 4 feet high. And it's just, they're stacked tight. And that is usually about $220, which is a lot of wood for that amount of money. It's really a good deal because you can't even go to the lumberyard anymore. It's a joke. You cannot pay $6 for a 2x4. You just can't. Or $44 for a sheet of OSB. You just can't. I mean, it's too much money. So last week I called him and I said, yeah, I want to get a bunk of 6-inch and a bunk of 8-inch. And he calls me back and he says, I don't have any logs to saw. And I said, well, when do those come in? And he says, I don't know. Can't get them. So that's kind of strange because, it's not like the loggers union is saying because of COVID-19, we're not going to cut trees down anymore, So that kind of got me by surprise because usually that's one of the things we can always get. And then I was over there today and he just had a really modest pile of logs. And I have the plans. Aaron got me the plans for the outpost, the store, and I wanted to get that sawed out too. And he says, I can't do it. So it's a little startling. And then when I'm on my way home, I see the price of fuel is $4.30. And that's for gasoline. Diesel fuel was $4.90 something here in town. I got some the other day just to make sure my tanks were full, and I paid $4.05 on the farm, which is just, I was getting diesel fuel. I think the cheapest I got it when Trump was president, I think I paid $1.10 for diesel fuel, which I should have gotten some more tanks if I'd have known, And the driver told me that he believed that diesel fuel was going to go somewhere around $7 by mid summer. And, that's bad news. That's bad news for farming, let me tell you, right there, and transportation, and all of us, because that means that's what the trucks are paying for the fuel that they're bringing supplies to the stores. And so I, don't want to just launch into a diatribe about prepping. I really don't want to do that because we've done enough of that. And, I think people that come on this program know, how I feel about that. I like the next generation. I don't have a problem with putting up some extra stuff. I don't have a problem with that. But if probably the next best place to be is to have a food production model that you can put the pedal to the metal if you need to. And I mean, we're real close to that point where we have the need to, if we get to a place where there's a shortage of meat at the store, people are going to turn to the farm. And so we will be turning to our brethren and saying, hey, we need some cows, bring some cows. We need them. Cows are not hard to find right now, believe it or not. You can find them all over the place. I almost laid one out this morning, when I was milking. She just was being a real pain. But yeah, it's a little strange. And I mean, for the longest time, I would be saying, yeah, I think this is coming. I think this is coming. And now that it's here, it's almost like, are you kidding? This is really happening. A friend of mine that's up by Traverse City, I'm right down around here in the state of Michigan. This is about where I am. It's like a mitten. And so I'm right around here. And Traverse City is like right here. It's on the water. So this would be the lake right here. And Lake Michigan. And so they're right on the water. And it's a kind of a weird town, actually. It's super, super progressive, I mean, it's a weird town, but a lot of people up there are still wearing face masks, believe it or not, and they've got the roads painted red, white, and blue, and they do all that cool stuff. But they're suffering from some severe shortages in the stores, and I'm not sure what that's all about. Have the truckers said, we'll just let them starve? I'm not sure what's going on. But my buddy Devin that's up there, he says, no, there hasn't been lunch meat for 2 weeks. And I'm not sure really what that indicates, It's hard to know if you don't study it. And the meat section, there's no good cuts of meat anymore. It's always whatever is left. And it's extremely expensive. He's a farmer friend of mine, but he also works part-time at a resort. And he was telling me for a steak dinner, it's north of $75. And that's just like an 8-ounce steak. I don't know what cut it would be. Probably a pretty good one. A glop of potatoes and some string beans, north of $75. And there's people that are still doing it. So, yeah, it's happening, boy. I got up last night. I couldn't sleep. I mean, I'd been in bed for a little while, and then I just woke up. And when that happens, I know I've got to get up and do some things and read or something like that. And so I came out, and there's a guy that I've been listening to, and you may have seen it on YouTube. It's Inspired. It's INSP, and then there's a gap, and then red. And the guy is pretty measured. It's him and his wife. It's mostly spiritual preparedness and things like that. And he gave out a list of indicators that I don't know how he knows these things, but they were indicators of things that are actually happening. And when you put them all together, it indicates that there's some supply issues on the horizon. And I heard that and I thought, I've got to pass it on. Now, me, I live this way. I live in preparedness. This morning at the kitchen table, I said, I put my finger on people and I said, what do we need extra of? What do we need extra of? And, the responses that are coming back to me is, no, we don't need anything. We got plenty. No, we don't need anything. We got plenty. And then I look inward and I say, well, what do I need? And so, I go through a lot of building materials. I go through screws and nails and things like that. And so I am taking an assessment. And that's why I said today, no matter what, I got to go get that wood picked up and get that home. So I got one bunk home today. I'm going to get it on my, I have a rack that I'm in the process of building that I can get it up on. It's a large amount of wood. And then I'm going to build a rack above it that I can put the 8-inch on. And then probably one above that I can get 4-inch on. So this, for me, I'm assessing the situation and I'm thinking, hey, we're going to need the outpost. We are going to need that. So I believe once the outpost is completed, we will be able to say to our brethren in the community, if you've got stuff that you want to move along, bring it here and put it on the shelf. We'll get it sold. We'll make sure you get paid so you can bring some more, And just having a space like that will be really helpful, I believe. I really do. And then another thing that I'm doing is I want to expand my butcher shop because I can't really handle beef the way I would like to. And that's the thing that is all over the countryside here is beef. And a lot of it's in a frustrated state because you can't get it in to be processed. And that's a problem. So possibly if we need to, we'll be able to step up to the plate and I can make a phone call right now. And I know guys that don't have anything to do and say, come on down. You know how to butcher beef? No? Well, put that apron on because you will by the end of the day. And that's the way it's going to go. Because if we got people that need to eat, we're just going to have to do what we can about that, right? So that subject has come up an awful lot. I mean, I don't talk about it on here with you guys because you know how I feel, and we could talk about it every single night. But when people see things start happening, I get phone calls. And here's where I think it's going, if you want to know. I mean, like I said last night, I look down the road, and when I say look down the road, I mean there's all kinds of things on either side of the road, and some of them I've seen, and some of them it's a proverbial road. Okay, there's stuff on this side and stuff on this side. Some of it I've seen, some of it I haven't seen. But then when I look down the middle, certain things come into focus, and I'm telling you that I'm straining my eyes to look past that to figure out what's coming so that we can prepare for it, right? I don't have anything to do with what's going on over in Ukraine, right? I don't have sons that are in the energy business over there. I don't have any idea what is happening there. I don't control Vladimir Putin. I don't control, there's so much that we don't control. And, I can get on Facebook and rant and rave, but it doesn't do any good. It's actually a waste of my time. It's better for me to look down the road, see what's coming, and be prepared for it, right? I don't see zombies. I don't see a zombie apocalypse. I don't know where that comes from. Of course, maybe if they turn the 5G towers on, right? And everybody that took the medication turns into a zombie. Hey, maybe, I don't know. Stranger things have happened. But I don't see that. I just see what is referred to as austerity measures coming into play. I see that. Now, for whatever reason, it's beyond my control to say, well, that shouldn't be that way. Well, it is that way, and we don't have anything to do about it. We don't have any control. So when austerity measures come, let's say that your rations get cut in half, and they get cut in half again, and then they get cut in half again. That puts people in a really tough position, and it's not a position that you want to be in. Just no, isn't. And the thing is about that, we've been preaching for a long time. Come out of her, right? Pull away from the system so that when they say, we're going to have to cut your rations in half, it's fallen on my deaf ears because you don't control my rations. And okay, you're going to cut them? Okay, all right. I only get half of what I was getting. Okay, all right, fine. Non-confrontational. But, hey, what are you doing this weekend, Mark? I think I'll knock down a beef. I got a real hankering for some T-bones. What are you doing? Gee, I was going to go stand in line down in town behind a semi, but maybe I'll come help you. Hey, why not? Yeah, maybe we'll do 2 beef. See? So the attitude has to be, okay, a storm is on the horizon. I can see the storm on the horizon. I know it's coming. What do they usually do? Do you have them figured out by now? What they do, and prepare for it and execute plans that are going to put you in a better position. That's what I got to say about that. And well, I haven't done anything. I'm new to the channel and I haven't gotten anything done. Well, it's 8:30. Last I checked, Walmart is open until midnight. So scrounge up what you got in the house for dollars and get down there and get you some stuff. Get as much as you possibly can and get it home. And then when you get some more dollars freed up, if you're not spending it on gasoline, get down there and do it again and do it again and do it again. So that when it comes time for you to wait in line behind the semi to get your rations, you've got stuff at home too, and possibly you can do some trading. I've been listening to Owen Benjamin lately, and he's either right or he's wrong. If he's wrong, he's real wrong. If he's right, he could be completely right, or he could be shades of right. He could be. There's certain things he says that I'm like, maybe this guy's a fraud. Maybe he's a total fraud. He could be. He's kind of fun to listen to. It's sort of freeing in a way. But he could be a total fraud, and I can't really tell. I mean, that's the nature of these guys. You listen to a Ben Shapiro, he seems legit, right? Listen to, Crowder, he seems legit. Listen to, this one, that one. But I listen to a lot of different ones. And, but he did say something today that helped me to understand something, because I have people around me that are saying, oh man, you got to get into Bitcoin. You got to get into Bitcoin. And I don't know. I don't gut check with it. It's just like, I'm not sure I get it, right? Because let's say I had a whole bunch of Bitcoin in a wallet that I guess is here. And then I want to go down to the store and get me a cool one. How does that work, right? I don't get it, right? I don't see how that works, because as far as I know, the store doesn't take Bitcoin, or if I have to pay for a repair on a car or something like that, I don't know. So I'm not really that read in on it, and I'm not really ready. But he said today, and this makes sense, well, to go crazy over Bitcoin would be like taking all of your money and sinking it into Beanie Babies. Remember that? Remember those days, Beanie Babies? Because for a while they were currency. People were trading Beanie Babies, and they were worth, certain ones were worth. And so that made sense to me, because at one time I used to collect a certain firearm, actually a Colt 45 automatic. I had collected up quite a few of them. And I thought, well, they only appreciate. I used to pay $300 for those things, right? And I had a whole bunch of them, all different kinds, all different ages and stuff. And now they're up around $750 for a good Colt 45 automatic. And I didn't only get Colts. I got Remingtons. I got Rock Island, Armory, and they were all good. But it was sort of a collection thing that I was doing. And then I got to the point where I needed something else farm related. And I said, well, I don't need these. So it was like a savings account. And some of them, I remember one of them I only paid like $190 for, and then I sold it for $400. So that's kind of what crypto is. And the thing about crypto is supposedly the powers that be, our governments their factions of our governments are a big problem right now. I mean, you saw this in Canada. And these guys are having a peaceful demonstration, and they freeze all their money that's in the bank. Well, I have money in the bank. Could they freeze my money because I'm doing this show? I guess they could. But if my money is in Bitcoin, I guess they can't. Now, I don't know how it is that they can't, because I don't understand that. But a lot of my money is in assets, hard assets. It's in land, it's in machinery, it's in tools, it's in raw materials like lumber, right? I learned that when I was down in Bolivia. We were doing some work for a female doctor. Or no, I guess she was contracted to us. And anyway, we were at her house for some reason, and she had a pile of teak logs. And you ever see a teak log, you tap on it with something steel and it sounds steel, very, very hard wood. And I asked the interpreter, he was an older man, and what's this all about? Why would she have teak logs? And he explained to me that, well, the money in Bolivia can change in value over the weekend. So when any Bolivians come into some money, they put it into hard assets as quickly as they can. And we're at a place right now where, is it that fuel has gone up, or our money is devalued? Is it just that the guys that are buying the crude, they're buying it with US dollars, and US dollars ain't good anymore, and we just don't know it? Could that be? Could that be? Talk to me. Maybe. I think so, right? it used to be that the United States had the reserve currency. So in order to buy oil, you had to first buy US dollars. But I'm not sure that that's the case anymore because we don't have a warrior in the White House to enforce that. I don't know. It's hard to really know what's going on. What I do know is when I go past the gas station, it was $4.89 for diesel fuel and $4.30 for gasoline. I do know that. And my paycheck hasn't been adjusted yet. I'm sure it will, right? I'm going to get paid more money. Yeah, my retirement from the Air Force is, I'm sure they're going to bump that right away, right? No, they're not. So people are going to suffer. So I do listen to Owen Benjamin because he's got some points of view that I think are okay. Jack turned me on to him, and Jack's pretty adamant about it, and I got to know, okay, what is it about this guy? And so he has revealed quite a bit about how things work in Hollywood and in business in general in the United States, because I've never really quite understood why certain people that are in business are so quick to carry the torch for the globalists. Why? Well, I mean, that's a way that you declare your allegiance to globalists. And if you don't do that, you're not even going to have a job there for very long. That's how that works. And it works that way across the board, especially in Hollywood. He talks about something called a sin index, whereas if you, like a Tom Selleck, come out and say, no, I don't think abortion's such a good idea, and I also think that all Americans should be armed. You're going the wrong way, Tom. You're supposed to disarm Americans and kill babies. You're going the wrong way. And so he doesn't get picked anymore for movies and things like that, right? And that's just an example. There's all kinds of examples like that. Now, he says that industry is alive and well. But then I hear other commentators that say that industry is not doing very well, that people do not want sinful looking stuff on their TVs. They have been turning it off for a long time. They do not want the homosexual agenda. People don't want that. You have certain ones that are pressing it. But a lot of people said, no, I don't. You guys do what you want, but I don't want you teaching that to my kids. And, so it's hard to know what's going on. It really is. I'd say through all of it, I hear in both sides of it, and I still feel optimistic. I know we're not getting the straight poop what's going on in Ukraine. It doesn't really matter. We didn't get the straight poop about CV-19, and that's apparently over. So now all the people that were telling you to put your mask on are waving the Ukrainian flag. It's kind of weird. It's kind of weird in a way. And now they're like, yeah, we need to go to war. We need to put our bikinis on and go to war. It's really dumb. But regardless, or irregardless, however you say that word, however you use that, era or regardless, it's going to create a storm. It's going to create waves that hit us at home. And I think preparedness would be a really good idea at this point. So that's that. I wanted to say that. I wanted to get that out of the way. It's been around here when these things happen, I get a little jumpy and I start putting my finger in people's belly button and saying, I want this, this, and this done. And it's pretty good that it does happen, and we're in good shape. I don't see, we talk about money, putting your money in crypto, right? No, keep your money at the bank. Well, what sense does that make to keep money in somebody else's house? And they'll only let you have $3,000 of it at a time. For a lot of people, that's more cash than they have. But I don't see the point, keeping money in the bank used to get you some interest. At least they would pay you interest for using your money. They don't do that anymore. So why do I use your bank? So I can have a checking account? I don't know. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense either. And credit cards and all that stuff. They can shut them babies off so quick. And I think what you need to do is think of a better way to do things. And if the only way you can do it is with a credit card, then maybe it's time to rethink that whole thing. So I've got a question here, and this was emailed in a few days ago. So I'm gonna do this. Okay. Hello. We are a homestead in the UP and are thinking about starting a small CSA. CSA is community supported agriculture. Everything I can find says we can't sell meat without being Everything I can find says we can't sell meat without it being processed at a USDA inspected processor. Looking for advice on this if you be willing. I understand if you can't give legal advice, so maybe just educated thoughts or direction. Does selling shares of an animal and offering free processing allow one to get around the dumb regulations? Thank you much. Ben Carson. No, it's Ben Carlson. All right. Ben, I hope you're listening because you answered this right in your question. You did. Okay. Everything. Okay. He's wanting to start up a CSA, and evidently it's a meat CSA that and a CSA would be a direct sale to customers on the farm. That's basically what I do, but I don't call it a CSA. Well, I take that back. Sometimes I guess we do on the website. Jill calls it chicken CSA. All right. So we're supporting the community supported agriculture, or they're supporting us, I guess. I don't know. Why don't we just be a farm? Okay, he says, everything I can find says we can't sell meat without it being processed at a USDA inspected processor. And then later on, he says, does selling shares or free processing allow us to get around dumb regulations? Okay, so he's saying that he can't sell meat to other citizens because of a regulation. And I told you last night that if a regulation is repugnant to your constitutional rights, and in this case, it would be the Fifth Amendment to the U.S. Constitution, your life, liberty, and property, which is your process, is protected under due process of law. So it doesn't say due process of regulation. It says due process of law. So if you enter into some sort of contract with, in this case, it would be Michigan Department of Agriculture, to sell, let's say you want to sell at a farmer's market, or you want to sell at a store. If you enter into contract to do that, your meat is going to have to be inspected by a third party. And the one that they recommend is the USDA, the United States Department of Agriculture. All right. And so what that means is, especially in the UP, you're going to have an unbelievably hard time. I got a buddy up there right now that's setting up a custom shop. Not quite a custom shop. It's going to be a private shop. And so what that means is it's just a guy. He doesn't have a nifty baseball hat that says USDA on it. He's made no agreement with the United States Department of Agriculture. He's just got a shop Sort of like if you had a shop and in your shop, you inoculated logs with mushrooms. Does it have to be a USDA log inoculating mushroom facility? No, it doesn't. You can just be private. It's your house. You have a hoist in the ceiling. You have a .22 rifle. And people bring you beef. You shoot them. You hoist them up. You pull the skin off. You cut them up. You're processing beef, and it is a custom shop, right? A lot of times you'll hear custom exempt. And what that is the USDA acknowledging that you have a constitutional right to butcher a beef if you want to for your neighbor or a friend or even somebody you don't like, right? You're providing a service to somebody. So the question would be, is butchering a beef without having a USDA man there looking over your shoulder, is that inherently illegal? Is it illegal? Is there a law against butchering without a USDA man standing there and watching you, with his hands in his pockets, probably playing with his change, right? No. The answer is no. It's a constitutionally protected process, the same as cutting hay is constitutionally processed. Why is it constitutionally processed? Because it is a process that is being performed by a U.S. citizen. A U.S. citizen. Now, is something that is illegal protected by the Fifth Amendment? No. Because it is illegal, that means there is a law against it. That means it's come up, many moons ago, people figured out that, well, hey, if we mix these things together, then we can make it into a powder and we can sell it, and it drives people crazy and they love it. So at some point, they had to make a law to outlaw that, to actually put that substance on the controlled substance roster, right? But before that, it's like if you mix talcum powder with bee powder and then you mix in a little something or else out of the cabinet and you put it in lines and you start snorting it up and you really like it, ain't no law against it. You can do it until they put it on the controlled substance roster. And what does that mean? That means that, okay, somebody's got to write up a bill that says, hey, this is bad for the public. This is bad for humanity. We need to make this illegal. It goes through committee and all that stuff. It gets voted on. Okay, it makes it through committee. Goes to the House. They vote on it. Yeah, bad. Goes to the Senate. Yeah, bad. Goes to the governor's office or the president. There's a federal system and then a state system. If it goes through the state system, it goes to the governor's office and the governor signs it into law. And because we're a representative republic, we have collectively said we agree with that, or the majority of us agree with that, right? Because we don't all vote on everything. We vote on a representative, and then the representative votes on our behalf. That's how that works. So are steaks on the controlled substance roster? No. Sausages? No. Is there a law that says you can't butcher a beef? No. Can you butcher your neighbor's beef? Yes, you can. So, but then MDA will say, well, it would be a good idea. And we can give you a permit to do it. And you just have to jump through these hoops, and then you'd be certified by us. But if you don't engage with them and you just do it, what can they do to you? That's the question. And I'm not suggesting here that you're flying under the radar. I'm not suggesting that at all. That's why when you mention selling shares, you don't have to do that. What that does is that signifies that your Fifth Amendment isn't enough. And I beg to differ. Your Fifth Amendment is plenty. And trust me, I know as what I speak. I know what I'm talking about here. You know what a press to test button is? A press to test button is used in aviation all the time. You'll see them, and it's got two detents on it. Detent mean when you push the first one, you're not actually actuating the appliance, whatever it is. It could be flaps, it could be landing lights, it could be landing gear, it could be lots of things. But it's got two detents on it, and when you push it to the first detent, it sends a little bit of electricity through the circuit and then back to the button that you're pushing, and it lights up under your finger. And you can see it. That is what's called a press to test button, right? If I go to the next detent, the appliance will actuate. So let's say it's a landing light. I hit the press to test, I get a light. That circuit's good. That way I'm quite sure that when I hit it all the way, I'm going to get a landing light come on. My lights are going to come down and they're going to come on, or wherever they are on the ship or aircraft, ship, whatever. This is one of those things where I'm not talking about this as though it's a theory. I have done this and I continue to do this, right? We were in a little bit of a pushing match with Department of Agriculture. They said, you must dispossess your animals, your pigs, because we say so. Because we say so. And they said any pig that has a straight tail is on the list. They gave a list of animals that had to be dispossessed. Any pig with a straight tail, oh, that's got to go. Any pig with a curly tail, that's got to go too. Any pig with floppy ears, any pig with erect ears, any brown pig, any black pig, and on it went until you got down to the ninth characteristic, and then it was any pig with characteristics that we haven't quite identified yet. Now, that seems ridiculous, doesn't it? But that's how tyrants work. Because you read it and you say, well, I just must not be smart enough to figure this out. But actually, most of the people that work in those departments belong on the island of misfit toys, actually. And that's really where they are. I mean, if they could actually do agriculture, then maybe it would be a different story. But they can't. So they try to manage agriculture. And they do it through their bureaucratic BS ways, right? So in that case, they said I had to dispossess my property because they said so. But the Fifth Amendment says my life, my liberty, and my property is protected under due process of law. So we said, where's your law? You ain't got one. So they wound up backing down. They did create a document. And when you read through it, it seems, wow, this seems like the law. But only thing was, it wasn't a law. It was a declaration that they made, right? Sort of like a regulation, right? Department of Agriculture considers themselves regulators. We regulate agriculture. We regulate it. Okay. Did we ask you to do that? I'm not sure who asked you to regulate this. When they were first put in place, it was a very small group. And what they did was they tracked what was happening so they could report to the governor, here are our assets. This is what we have for food supply. And then the governor of Michigan could, he could talk with the governor of Indiana, I suppose, and say, well, we got lots of this and you got lots of that. Maybe we could, that's what it was. That's what it was originally about. But what they've become is regulators. And so they come up with regulations, how much and when and all that stuff. The only problem was it's repugnant to the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution. And the way they get you to comply is to voluntarily comply. So you get into a conversation with them and they say, well, this is really easy. Don't listen to him, get yourself in trouble. All you need to do is get a permit. Well, a few small things. You got a permit. then you're covered. Then you're covered. You're not going to have somebody come knocking on your door. Really? Actually, without a permit from them, then you won't have anybody come knocking on your door. If you do get in a permitting situation with them, then they're going to be checking on you to make sure you're playing by their rules. Right now, I'm playing by my rules, right? Now, my rules, where does it stop? Where does it start and where does it end? Okay, that's a valid question. Some people would say, well, Mark, without somebody looking over your shoulder to regulate you, you could poison somebody. You could do terrible. I might make a stew out of a bat, and we'd have COVID-20 on our hands, right? Yeah, I could. But here's where it begins and ends for me. I operate under the law, right? Under the law, right? I am not doing any kind of human sacrifice. That would be against the law. And even if you do it on private property, you're not covered, right? I am not doing any kind of, let's see, what's something that's illegal? I don't kidnap people from in town and chain them to the workbenches down that would be kidnapping, right? And even if I do kidnapping on my own property, it's not okay. And if I was doing that, yeah, they could. They could swear out to a judge. He's kidnapped people from McBain, and he's making them work down there, right? And then they'd get a search warrant, and they'd come and they'd find people chained and I would be going up the river, right? Because that's illegal, right? But anything that is not illegal, it is my right to do. And I don't need to go to somebody else to say, is it okay if I do this? Can I have permission to do this? I don't need to do that. If you do it, you just opened up a can of worms that you're going to really be sorry that you did. But all the while, they'll be saying, yeah, but you're covered. You're covered. If anything goes wrong, you're covered. You're doing it by the rules, right? They just, I heard him say one time, we come in and we inspect your shop. This is like back in 2004. And I opened my shop in 2005 after I got out of service. They came in, they did a cursory inspection. Yup. And all it was screens on the windows, 3-compartment sink, a hand washing sink. Had to be a separate sink. You can't wash your sink no, you can't. That would be bad. Washable walls. I always like that. Washable walls, right? And but they recommend, and it was really dumb. It was really dumb thing. And then we never seen him again. Never seen him again. But we got a bill from them every year for permission, right? They provided no oversight at all. It was all up to me what we did. And, guidelines, guidelines came from when I was helping my mother make salad when I was a kid. It's like, if I wouldn't eat it, I'm not going to sell it to customers, right? And that's just an integrity thing. And if you don't have integrity and you're selling things to customers that you wouldn't eat, you will be out of business very quickly. But make no mistake, the state of Michigan provided no oversight on me. The only time they started coming here was after our court case ended about the pigs, and I won, right? Then it was like payback time. And via the license that I had in the shop, I had signed, this permit. I had it for 14 years. And this permit stated that they could do a no-notice inspection anytime they want. So I guess that was, to keep me afraid that in any moment a food inspector is going to walk in with a clipboard, and a hairnet on, right? That was the least of my concerns. They had nothing to do with my business, right? Nothing to do with my business. But as soon as we figured out the game and said, well, then keep your license, then they can't come on my property because my property is protected under the 4th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution, which I'm here to tell you, if you haven't heard me say this before, I encourage you to get the number of the Attorney General's office down in Lansing and call them up and say, I need an answer to a question. Better yet, get an email address. This is way better because if it isn't in writing, it doesn't exist. That's just the way it is. And email a question to them and say, is the U.S. Constitution the supreme law of the land? And I'm only looking for a yes or no, Hillary Clinton. Yes or no? And we did this when we were going through our court case with them, because if my pigs are my property, then they're protected under due process of law. If you ain't got a law, you ain't got nothing, right? So we needed to know, does a local regulation trump the U.S. Constitution? We really weren't sure, because as aggressive as they were, you get rid of those pigs, we're going to come and arrest you, shoot your pigs, and take your children away, and put a lien on your farm. That's how aggressive they were. And it just didn't seem quite right. I mean, I no love lost with me and these departments. I mean, I think that they're completely unconstitutional and it's completely wasteful. I mean, it's horrible. They're the ones that really work our constitutional rights over. But over and over and over again, I got to back up a little bit. It wasn't just me that contacted the Attorney General's office. This is before we had the tribe, but I did have a tribe. They were my friends and associates throughout the country. And I made a video and I said, can you guys do this for me? And out of the 10,000 people that saw the video, about 30 people sent an email to Lansing, to the Attorney General's office, and requested or demanded an answer to the simple question, is the Constitution the supreme law of the land? And then they forwarded those responses to me, and I still have them to this day. And every one of them, I mean, they were real wordy, and all you had to do was say was yes, that's all. But they were real wordy, but every single one of them was in the affirmative, right? Every single one of them. So I know what I'm talking about here. You can try it out on your own if you want. But I recommend, if you're going to be in any kind of farming operation, any kind of business like this, make the decision, do I want to sell to restaurants, retail stores, and farmers markets? And if the answer is yes, you go right ahead. But I'm here to tell you that you're going to be competing with Gordon Foods, Food Service of America, and then like my buddy Devin that works at a restaurant, if he needs something, he runs down to Walmart and buys it. You're going to be competing with them. And I'm here to tell you, you can't compete with them. So your restaurant, they're going to kiss you on both cheeks and say, whoa, where have you been? But we can't pay this for your product. We'd like to. And then you go through the numbers and say, well, if I sell it to you at what you want it for, I'll lose money. And they'll say something, yeah, but you'll get your name out there. I love that one. You'll get your name out there. Yeah, like somebody takes a bite of something off of a plate and they'll say, wow, Mark Baker, No, they don't. They don't care where it came from at restaurants. They care more about how much they're paying for the stinking bottle of wine that they're going to drink before they even eat anything, right? Get a grip. They don't care. Now, when you sell that same product via CSA to your wife's girlfriend, who's got 3 little kids that she's feeding, and she sees your kids and their hair is all shiny and their eyes are sparkly, she says, well, I want that for my kids. Well, maybe you should feed them some decent chicken. Don't feed them that. That's actually not good for you to eat that chicken. Oh, really? I didn't know that. Yeah, well, let me tell you how these kids' eyes get sparkly. Let me tell you how that happens. And that's the market that you want to build. And make no mistake, that mom that you're selling to has no agreement with the Department of Agriculture to buy only, USDA processed stuff. She has no agreement. and she doesn't need to make an agreement. If she is a citizen of the United States, right? And I know a lot of people don't like that, but she is a citizen of the United States, and she's afforded all the luxuries of and comforts of the United States Constitution. The U.S. Constitution, again, the Fifth Amendment, your life, liberty, and property protected under due process of law. If that mom wants to feed her kids roadkill, that is her prerogative, right? So if she wants to buy beef from you that you're killing it at your facility that you've built with 3-compartment sink and washable walls and all that stuff, if you want to, you don't have to, but maybe she'll come through and say, I'm not going to buy anything out of here. This place is dirty, you know? But I don't think somebody is as conscientious to send an email like this, I don't think is going to do that, right? So anyway, I have to keep hammering that home because they throw out innuendo that gets you to go to them and ask them what you must do. And as if they are the arbiter of right and wrong. They're not. They are a department. It's sort of like U.S. military operates under the Uniform Code of Military Justice. And sometimes it's more expedient for the military to hire what they call contractors to do certain functions, right? Certain guys that are really good at certain things say, I'm not going to do this anymore, and get shot at by those guys for, $85 a month. I'm not doing it. I'm leaving. So then they go over and they get a job working for a contractor. The contractor will pay them $1,000 a month and then sell their services to the U.S. military. Well, that's kind of what you have going on here. The Department of Agriculture is made up of, they have their own system, what they think is important, to be a food inspector. And it usually has a lot to do with going through a certain university and you need a job, can't get a job anyplace else. Oh, we'll make you food inspector. How about that? Yeah. And they make their own criteria. And the governor's like, yeah, I guess, unless somebody's got a complaint with it. But you're not obligated to play their game. If you're a farm like me and you want to sell to your friends, neighbors, but the reason why it's hard to sell to a restaurant is because the restaurant is under the authority, or they've made an agreement with MDARD, or the Department of Agriculture, or the health department in the city that they reside, and they've made an agreement. We'll only use meats that were killed under USDA inspection. That's the agreement that they made. Is it a good agreement? I guess. I don't know. But I don't want to sell to them anyway, as I'm raising grass-fed beef. We don't feed them chicken manure. we don't feed them in huge, gross feedlots. We don't do that. We feed them grass. They're all happy animals. They're individually slaughtered by moi, right? There's no suffering. There's no fear, right? So that product deserves a premium price. And if you don't pay the premium price, then go get it at Walmart. Like, I can just tell you, I just had a steak for dinner tonight. And it could have been one of the best steaks I've ever had. It could have been. It was that good. And I tell you how I did it if you wanted to know, but you're not asking. You're not asking. So that's my thing right there. If you're Ben, if you're going to set up a CSA in the UP, you're going to have a real hard time getting USDA processed. There's only one of them up there, and you're never going to get into it, not on a regular basis. So you're going to have to set up your own processing, and I highly recommend that. Of course, if you call them and ask them if you can, they're going to say, no, we don't have any provision for that. Okay, there's nothing in their rule book says you can do it. So don't play by their rules. Play by your rules. If you're not playing their game, they don't have any authority to say anything to you. Not that they won't. You may get a phone call, but I recommend that you do not talk to them. Thank you very much. No, thank you. Boop. Just like you do with the guy from India that's trying to sell you, you know, a guarantee on your car. You know, your warranty on your car has run out. We just found out over here in Pompeii. Couldn't wait to get a hold of you so we could help you out. They're the same way. You don't want what they're selling. They offer you nothing anyway. What I think the big thing that they offer is you're covered. You're covered. You just go this route and then you're covered. What does that mean? What does that mean? Is that like when Guido comes to you on the street corner in New York and says, hey, we can protect your business. Just, you know, and then you're covered, right? You're covered. Same thing. It's like a protection, right? I swear it is. It's if it's not, it sure looks like racketeering to me. But I'm sure the Attorney General has probably looked at that and probably determined that it isn't, right? All right, so Ben. All right, Ben, you were here. Awesome. Perfect. I already do all my own processing on the farm as it is. This makes a lot of sense. Ben, if you need to, and you need to talk to me, call the farmhouse, tell them you're Ben, and they'll give you my cell phone and we can talk about this more. And the reason I say that is because we have one other guy from the UP that we've mentored. We've actually done some, thumbs up, all. Help Mark. We've got a buddy up in the UP, and I'll turn you on to him. And he's laid the concrete for his shop. He has laid the concrete. And we've kind of walked through. I've shown him my shop. And I can even talk you through some of the things that you need and some of the things you don't need and how to proceed. You know, Department of Agriculture really does not like this message, right? Do you dig that? They don't like this message because they are into control. They want to control agriculture, where really a strong nation, agriculture should be controlled by no one. It should be controlled by the entrepreneur who is trying to make a living and do the best he can. Right now in the UP, you got one shop that I know of that's a USDA shop for that whole land mass. You would think, right? You know, you ever read the book 1984, right? And it's reverse speak, right? So you have the Department of or the Ministry of Love is actually where they take you if you're a dissident, and they torture you until you, oh yes, USDA is good. USDA is good, right? That's the same thing we have going on right now in this country. The USDA, that's the federal branch. They're problematic, but they're so spread so thin we don't see much of them. But their manure rolls downhill, and then the state agencies pick it up and say, well, I guess they're setting the standard up there in Washington. It's where all the really smart guys are. And then it rolls from there down to the health departments. And then even to the townships. They think that it's their job to protect the health of the people, right? We don't really even need a health department at the county level. I mean, we really don't. It is such a waste of time, right? Oh, well, all the mothers and children and stuff, you know, if they're not going to survive, that's probably a better option, you know. Okay, so if you do need to talk to me, I will talk to you because, like if was the point I was going to make, if the Department of Agriculture was really the Department of promoting agriculture, they would say, what, one butcher shop in the UP, in the whole of the Upper Peninsula? That is not safe. That is not good. That is not the American way. That is a serious deficiency in facilities. We got to do something about that. Now, they give money away for all kinds of stupid things. Like their favorite thing to give money out for is greenhouses. They love to give out money for greenhouses, right? Most people don't know what to do with a greenhouse. But Are they looking around for guys like you up there saying, hey, how would you like to put in a butcher shop? We might be able to help you out with the finance of it and get you some training, all this stuff. No, they don't do that. They don't do that. They would just, if you open up a butcher shop, they're going to say, you need a water test or we're shutting you down. That's what they would say. They're assholes. They are assholes. Department of Agriculture is just made up of nothing but parasitic assholes, right? And I say that, I know I'm pretty passionate about it, but food is pretty important, right? It's pretty important. And I say that tongue in cheek. It is paramount, but they seem to be hell-bent on the destruction of the food system. Just look at the evidence, right? Guys like us that, there are thousands of us across the fruited plain that would love to open up an 80-acre farm and make a good living, willing to work hard, good American, non-parasitic folk, right? Country folk, or even people from the city that would like to come out and live in the country. There's lots of us. We could pick up the slack for industrial agriculture, which, by the way, is failing. And it is the baby of Department of Agriculture. It is their brainchild. They nurture it. They couldn't nurture it at all if they didn't have money that's forcibly taken from the citizenry and handed over to them. Well, we can't let this fail. What other industries in the United States do we do that to besides the auto industry? Oh, we can't let this fail. We're going to have to bail these guys out. I don't get bailed out. No. I bail myself out. And that's the way it should be. That's the way it should be. Now, I reckon that if you are up to speed and you understand what you're doing, you put in 8 hours a day at it and you will do well. And you may be able to have even a couple of people working for you. Do they like this message? No, they don't. Am I afraid that they're going to come and get me? Come on. I'm not. This is what the freedom of speech is all about. What you think a bunch of bureaucrats who are going to whine about it at the water cooler are going to do something about it? You really think so? If anything, they would try and get the state police to do something about it. But I don't think they're in that business anymore. I really don't. Maybe they can hire some contractors. But I don't think that's going to happen either. They have more pressing issues. Make no mistake about it, though. Food is very, very important. And I think we're all finding that out now, aren't we? All right. Let me back up a little bit here and read some of this stuff. Oh, tonight is question and answer. So I'm 9:23. Okay. Wow. Okay. Ben Carlson, $23 for a 10-foot 2x6. You got to find a mill, man. You got to find a guy. See, because they're again, lumber yards, as we know them, they're sort of like supermarkets. They're subject to all those things. Where when you have one guy with a mill that's just milling out wood, oh yeah, but you can't use that because the permitting process from the county won't allow you to use that wood. Wonder why that is. Well, I recommend if it's your house and you're building on your house, you don't get a permit. That's what I recommend. Are you giving legal advice? I guess. I don't care. Ooh. Okay, Brittany and Jonathan are down at Crunchy Mama Farms. This warms my heart right here because we didn't even know any of these people a short period of time. And Brittany and Jonathan stayed here at our cabin on last year at Tribe Day. And then we met Sean and Amy They were here visiting and stopped in the farm. We put them to work butchering chickens. They moved. They went back down to Texas and built a butcher shop. Good on them, man. I saw pictures today. Sean's jobbing it. He's got Jonathan out there with the splitter, splitting the beef in half. He's killing it. He's killing it. And he would be a guy for you to talk to, Ben. Sean Kelly. You should connect with him. He's a guy that knows a lot about the butchering business. Well, I do too, but maybe you don't want to know from me. We are going back to the brother-in-law's place tonight right now from Crunchy Mama's, and the gas station we just passed coming in was 409. Just went by it, and it's now 419, 6-hour time frame. It's only a matter of time before there will be no limits on items sold. Limits on items sold. That's what Inga's saying. Do you know that? You got inside poop? Or are you speculating? Hildy's with us tonight from Florida. It's not inflation. Our money is getting worthless. I think you might be right. By the way, you guys, we have Baker's Green Acres merchandise that you can get on the store. It's at bakersgreenacres.com. And pretty quick here, there's going to be some custom-made cups in there like this. My daughter-in-law is going to be making them. So you'll want to check that out. We also have hoodies and hats and baseball hats and all that stuff. Anyone can farm stuff. Real cool stuff. The Ghost is here. Strange Angle was a good show. Church of Scientology shut her down. Didn't want people to know L. Ron Hubbard was part of the Aleister Crowley sex magic cult. Ooh. I'm afraid of the panic that is going to happen soon. I don't think that you should be afraid of anything. I don't think fear should be a part of your lexicon. You should be, everything that goes into fear should go into preparation. Do that. If they regulate agriculture, ask them if they could regulate a little more sun or water. There's not enough of them. There's not enough of them. And you're going to put them up against farmers? No way. Drama Clean. Hello, Baker's channel. It's looking great. Thank you. Drama Clean. That sounds familiar. Federal Reserve is not federal or a reserve. I know. Aviation, too big to fail. I don't know. I'm not sure I agree with that because you don't see Pan American anymore. Put Roger the Mean Cow on a mug. I'll like one of those. Yeah, my daughter-in-law and my oldest son, she's a ceramics enthusiast, and so she's got a wheel, and then she got a kiln, and then she came across a deal where a guy was just getting rid of all these molds. And the way you do it is you have the mold, it holds together with a elastic band, a thick one, and then you pour the clay mixture in and you roll it around in there, and then you dump out the excess and let it sit for a while and break it open, and then you can engrave on it, you can paint on it, and then fire it, and it comes out with a nice cup. And we already have an order in with her. We're going to really sell some really nice custom cups. Another thing that we're working on is we have a laser engraver that we got months ago, and Jim has just taken to operating it. My son Jim, my 12-year-old, he's into 3D printers, and he's gotten really good at it, programming and all that stuff. But anyway, he's burning out our logo, our new logo, and it's this on cutting boards. And it actually looks really good on a cutting board. I think I might have one right over here. I can show you real quick. I might. I see one over there, but I'm not sure if it's one that's been. Well, no. It wasn't one that has been engraved, and I think it's probably in the house, but I'll bring some of that stuff out and show it to you. But we're moving ahead with things. Made some solid plans yesterday to Oh, drama queen. Yeah, I'm Audon's wife. Been busy, but we still love y'all. Y'all, right? I think I recognize that because do you have a cleaning business? Maybe not. I don't know. All right, that's it for tonight. We didn't have a lot of questions. We just had the one, and I took up the whole thing with that one. But okay, Ben's got something here. Have a local sawmill, but I own a construction company, so wouldn't you know it? Regulations. Ordered a portable mill a couple weeks ago. Something for people to think about if you have trees. Yeah, you. If you're a construction company, then you know that in order. You're pulling permits from the county, and the county says you got to use, grade A lumber, whatever they call it, and it'd be stuff that's stamped, and that's the stuff that's at the sawmill, I mean at the lumber yard, and you really can't afford that stuff, right? So, although I'm surprised how much of it they're moving out of the lumber yard. Last time I was down there, I had to get a sheet of OSB, and it was painful. I mean, turning over $43 for a sheet of OSB that is garbage anyway, that this time in 2020 was a year ago, or maybe a year and a half ago, was $9. So yeah, that's tough. That's tough. I don't know where this is going to go, you guys. Maybe it's just what has to happen. You hear that there's a new currency coming. I have also heard Drama Queen said something about the Federal Reserve. I've heard that the Federal Reserve has been done away with, and that we're going back on hard currency. We're going back on precious metal currency. I've heard that. It's called Nasara. It's the national. No. It's I don't know. I've heard that. I've been hearing that for a couple of years now. Haven't seen it, but I don't know. We'll see. All right, I'm going to get going. Thanks for everybody for coming by. We had a pretty good crowd tonight. Can we get all thumbs ups? One of the things I can't see the thumbs up from this screen. So, all right, I'll see you guys tomorrow night. Anyone can farm.